Hey guys, Delusional Magic here. Sorry I haven't uploaded in a while and I'm behind on the video I promised I'd make. Well, the members on this channel know what it is because I made a members only post. Oh, I'm sure they're just waiting for this one. But in the meantime, Mark Rosewater did a State of Design 2022 article, looking back at, well, really 2021. So he's got highlights and lessons, and I'm going to break them down. So let's start with the overall Magic design. So highlights, we pushed the boundaries of what Magic can do, which I get it. You've been designing cards for like 20 years and you're bored and you just want to do something crazy instead of the same old whatever, even though people just want the same old whatever unless you're talking about something outside of standard. I mean, you can get creative, interesting, innovative, and new while being subtle and not creeping the power up to an atrocious level where nobody even on digital can track what's going on. So that is so completely and utterly not a highlight. I just want to reach to the screen and just slap the keyboard out of his hand while he typed it. By the way, somebody on his blog asked, are you able to give the very obscure and very vague factoid about the premiere set releasing in 2023? I believe some years ago you mentioned fairies being in, oh god, that's Lorwyn, being in a design file in response to a very similar question. And lo and behold, oh, a year and 9 months later they turned up in ELD. Oh, I thought he meant the future, thank god. I don't want to go to Lorwyn, even though you know we are, come on. And he replied, I think 2023 has the most ambitious design for a premiere set I've ever done. On July 31st, he said that. Yeah. After saying that pushing the boundaries was a highlight for 2021, even though they don't have any players left. He's actually delusional. He's not just towing the line or being a cheerleader or just whatever, say the script, you know, collect a paycheck like some WotC staff members who do regular live streams. So next up he says, we experimented with how to properly readjust the color pie. Yes, now that black can blow up enchantments, mono black is the most unbeatable deck in the game. So you done screwed that up. That is not a highlight. You should not screw with the color pie just because you're bored of designing the same sets. Just fire everybody who lost all creativity and new ideas and then quit. And then let new people do it. All the higher ups there are like in their 40s bare minimum, and they've been working their way too damn long. They're out of ideas, they just want the money and the prestige, and they don't care if they ride this all the way down because they're just like, whatever, I'm close to retirement. Well, that's awfully similar to Hasbro, believe it or not, so sure. So the third highlight. We adapted our design to the feedback of our customers. No, you did not. I'm going to need some clarification. Let's actually read the article under this, or the paragraph or whatever. I'm so shook I don't even know what words are. Okay, part of adapting the game is understanding how the audience wants to play it. Magic has gone through a lot of changes over the last 10 years, but I'm proud of all the work R&D has put into understanding what those changes mean and how we've been able to shift our design to meet those needs. People hate alchemy and it's still a thing. Your active players are down what I've heard 75 to 80% on Arena. That's just the ballpark from various estimates. And you're just going on Twitter and your blog and asking your little ass-kisser fanboys, what did we do right? What did you like about the game? What don't you like? They come in and they say, all I play is Commander and I never buy anything but singles. Print me overpowered crap so I can beat my opponents. And a bunch of net deckers. I don't know, just keep printing overpowered crap that I can just auto-win with. Give me like an all-board wipe control deck so I can just win with manlands while watching Netflix. So I'd like to recommend for 2023 a two-step program. Tell those people to shut the hell up. And two, do an exit poll. I'm not sure if exit poll is the right term, but you know, people who left the game, ask them why. Because that's the most important, because with the complexity of the game and the price and COVID and people having no money, you sure as hell are not having anybody new join the game or learn it. It is almost impossible to learn this game at this point. The complexity and the delayed triggers and just alchemy's out of control and anything in paper and standard right now, everything is so not approachable. You are getting zero new customers, zero new players. So what you want to do is find the ones who are currently playing the game and have on and off or have continuously for a couple years and ask them why they left the game or ask them why they're angry or why they're about to leave the game. They never do that. See, they think they're doing that, but they're not doing that because they send out a little, you know, tweet and an email or whatever to a couple select people saying, hey, what did you think of the last set? And people are like, I like the art and you're great. Yeah, if you tweet it out to dumbass lefties on Twitter, that's what you're gonna get. Anybody following you is not following you to roast you. Although at this point, people are so pissed off, that's what they've come to. But you didn't listen to a damn thing, and you didn't do a damn thing about it. You and I both know that, Mark. So all three of the highlights for overall Magic design are complete and utter delusional fantasy. Let's get to the lessons, which I'm surprised he even came up with 3, but let's see what's the opposite of like a backhanded compliment? A backhanded backpat? Handshake? Well, anyway, lessons. We need to be more conscious about backwards compatibility. Yeah, so does Microsoft. What do you mean by that? What, over complex crap or injecting stuff with your direct Horizon set into a format that completely then ruins the format? Because that was actually mostly Diregraph. That you're pretty much not talking about 2022. Or really 2021. Oh my gosh, he says it in the first sentence. You guys are about to have a heart attack while I read this. We're now designing for what I call an eternal world. Let me translate that. Nobody touches standard. Every standard set has slowly just become Commander Horizons. We don't care what we do to standard at this point. It's completely beyond saving. Thanks, Hasbro. Yeah. Where the core of Magic players involves the full history of the game. This means we must be better about understanding how current designs play with older designs. They said in the past that they don't consider other formats when printing cards because standard is their main product, and now that nobody buys their main product, he has completely and utterly pulled a 180. And that was like 4 years ago. That wasn't like way in the distant past that him and multiple people said that actually. Well, it was BFZ, Eldrazi Winter. That was the comment they made about it. And then actually it turned out later that was a lie. They said they were well aware of what the card in the meta would do to Modern before they printed it, and they just didn't care. I am not kidding. They said that. I have the quote saved. You'll just have to take my word for it. This video is long enough already. So he goes on to reiterate, it's not enough to make something cool in a vacuum, that's true. We have to shape it such that it complements what has come before it. This is probably the current force, most likely to change the immediate future of design. Yeah, well, power the damn cards down. Stop having every standard set have like 10 vintage playable cards in it. How about that? That would be a good first step. Also, aggressively ban things in other formats, although almost every ban has been in another format. They're babysitting stuff that people actually play. They are so done with standard. I wouldn't even be surprised if they somehow drop standard or just say we're renaming it or nobody plays it or blah, 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 some BS about COVID. So we're just going to have 3 sets be legal at a time. Pseudo blocks, yearly, full rotation, 2, 3, 4 rotate, or, something other than having 8 sets legal because they can't do that. And it would result in more sales, so that's on the table. You know that. Come on. If you think they're not considering fundamentally changing standard and letting it be fixed by rule instead of fixed by bans because it's gotten so out of control there's no other way to do it, well, then you need to hit subscribe and listen to more of my videos. My gosh. So number 2, oh my gosh, did I mention I didn't read these ahead of time? We need to be careful with complexity. Yes. Yeah. You do. You do need to do that, Mark. This shouldn't even be number 2. This should be like 1B, because remember, stop injecting crap into other formats accidentally and carelessly and ruining them was number 1. Stop with the complexity and the power creep is basically number 2. So as a side effect of moving toward an eternal world, we've upped the amount of complexity we're allowing in each set. Wait, why wouldn't you do exactly the opposite? We're going to do the most damage and have the most card interactions and the most confusing gameplay, not just in Standard, not just on Alchemy, but in every format. We're going to ruin Pauper. We're going to ruin Vintage, Legacy, Modern, Commander, everything. You aren't going to be able to figure out what the heck is going on in any format with all these delayed triggers and zones and cards with 2 cards written on them. You need to take all of that and stop with that. He goes on to say, while I understand why we're doing it, money, I know we need to be vigilant to make sure we don't fall into old mistakes. A new player is always going to start the game from the same place. Wrong, you put the complexity of standard at 10 times what it was 5 years ago, so that's incorrect. We must be careful not to leave them behind. Well, at least he mentioned they don't have any new players learning the game. But the rest of the statement sounds like he doesn't know why. And if he doesn't know why, they're not going to fix it. Number 3, still have not read this yet, by the way. Here we go. We need to be more conscious of how we talk about our products. They probably do talk to the products, let's be honest, but talk about the products. Well, what does he mean? Okay, a lot of mistakes of this last year were not about what we designed, but in how we communicated to the audience what to expect. He's not entirely wrong, but using that as a crutch, that's a pretty darn big crutch. You designed sets that were garbage. Nobody was interested in your stupid Baldur's Gate thing, and nobody gave a flying crap about Jumpstart. Nobody cared, or wanted, or was interested in, or wanted to pay the amount required for Alchemy. Nobody wanted all the additions to Historic, to Rune Arena, and just create Super Modern or Super Commander on there. Nobody wanted any of that. You couldn't have packaged it properly at all unless you came out and said, this new upcoming thing is for people who like overpowered crap. 1% of people would be like, sign me up, okay? Somebody's into that. There is nothing they could have said about some of these products that would have possibly made them okay. What were you going to say about like $85 packs that wouldn't make people rip you to pieces? What would they have said about the LGBTQ RSTLNE 2+ letters that are in the Greek alphabet probably at this point? Secret lair. That would have presented that correctly. Hey, here's our offensive stereotype secret lair. Go argue about it. Hey, angry liberals on Twitter, what do you think of this? Did we meet your impossible, illogical, circular standards? Or are you just going to scream because you're angry about it? And nothing's ever good enough for you because being angry gets you subs from even more stupid people. Or followers. It's Twitter. I don't use it. But I mean, if he's talking about like the Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow combined thing, the double feature that everybody hated, yes, there was a little tiny communication problem where they said it would contain select cards to make an interesting and amazing draft experience, and they really just put every single card in it, slapped it together, and called it a thing. And hilariously enough, the set was terrible to draft, digital or otherwise, mixed packs or otherwise. It was an actual nightmare. You were either playing vamps or you're playing werewolves or you're playing some kind of weird side thing, okay? You basically drafted one set or the other. They smashed them together. It made no sense. They just wanted to sell another thing, and they should have not done that. And the artwork looked like ass. What were they going to say about that would have made it okay? They should have just not done it. But he's hiding behind, oh, the reason it failed is because we told people to expect a really good draft, and then it was really just some last-second throw-it-together low-effort crap. You can't hide behind that as the entire excuse. So then he goes for the highlights and lowlights or whatever, lessons, sure, about each set. So I'm just going to burn through the headlines here because otherwise this will be an hour documentary. So Innistrad Midnight Hunt. Highlights. The new mechanics were mostly popular. Mostly. That's a highlight. First of all, no. The tribal was overpowered and people hated how transform worked. And two, yeah, you could find somebody who said it was good if you cherry pick like, oh, just Commander players, just Modern players. Next up, the addition of witches and folk horror was appreciated. Not really, it's kind of a tired trope, but sure. The revisit of old characters was enjoyed, yeah, by anyone who didn't buy the product or play with it, or... You should be more concerned about if people buy it, not if people are like, ooh, callbacks, ooh, nostalgia. I mean, it'll sell a couple packs, but at the end of the day, if nobody actually plays the game, not gonna work. And lastly, players enjoyed the premiere of Multicolor Flashback. No, we did not. And the new land cycle. I don't remember what it was, but I don't remember it being bad. Slow lands? Oh, yeah, those were kind of cool. But stop putting the lands that everybody needs to play the game in the rare slot. Stop doing that. It makes the game too expensive. Lessons. Werewolves didn't get their due. No, they were overpowered and people... I literally just played against werewolves on Standard Constructed Diamond League right now before I started recording this. So shut up, Mark. Next up, Day-Night wasn't backwards compatible. That's true. It was confusing, stupid, and awful. The colors weren't of equal power level in limited formats, especially draft. Yes, you drafted werewolves or you lost. The end, period. Trust me, I won a lot of drafts that way. I mean, it's not all bad. I won a ton of gems. Anyway, double feature was a big miss. Really, was it? I didn't notice. It was one of the biggest pieces of feedback I got. Players believed it was unnecessary. Now, why would we believe that? What would lead us to believe that? Players felt misled on what the contents were going to be. What kind of gaslighting bullshit is this? Players were verifiably, factually misled about what the contents were going to be. Not just we felt that. Oh, your feelings. No. We're angry because you lied to us. Put it in the paragraph, you jackass. Oh, he actually said it. And we're upset that it wasn't a crafted draft experience. He didn't put it, but like they promised it would be, rather than just the two sets thrown together. Oh, oof. Oh, wait, I can't legally say oof anymore because copyright. Just kidding. Let's move on to Crimson Vow. Here's a lesson. Why the hell were there 5 standard sets in 1 year? That's one. I'm asking that one to you. Highlights. Players appreciated having mechanics overlap between sets. No, we did not. Blood was appreciated mechanically. Yeah, I mean, it was like cycling, like delayed cycling. But I think, once again, just like the last time they actually did cycling... You know, with Zenith Flare, where I could just, like, turn my brain off, train a chimpanzee to run the deck and go do something better with my time. Yeah, just like with that, they made blood a little too overpowered. I mean, they were like, oh, when blood, if, you know, this for every blood. You couldn't even use the damn tokens. You're too busy caring what the count was. And it still wasn't competitive in Standard Constructed. It was only good in Draft. The Dracula cards were well received. What? The lands broke an entire money tournament, the world tournament or whatever the hell it was. The Magic the Gathering Tenkaichi Budokai, I believe is what they called it. For the first time since Ikoria Lair of Behemoths and the Godzilla cards, we did an overlay of another IP, this time Dracula. I got a lot of positive feedback. Well then, you're listening to the wrong people. And the wedding theme was fun. That's the best you can. Let's just switch to lessons. I'm done with this. It didn't feel like a horror setting. I guess, but I'm done with the, stereotypical cliche. It's almost parodied at this point. Like 1950s, 60s tropes. Training, Cleave, and Exploit were more miss than hit. Yeah, and Cleave was neat. Exploit was, just another death trigger, another timing thing where you couldn't get your crap together if they blew away one of your cards. And spoiler alert, with the amount of control in Standard, people were and still are blowing away more than one of your cards. The limited formats were too bomby. Yes, you would just draft a Mythic and win. Yes, 100%. They've made that mistake so often, it's clear they don't even give a crap anymore. The vampires needed to be better. No, they didn't. I hate vampires. Alright, Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, aka Space Japan. Highlights, it was the home run set of the year. This makes me want to drink, possibly smoke, and I don't and I never have. This was the most hated set of the year. People despised this stupid shit. Unblockable ninjutsu. Surprise, you lose. Hey, you have one turn to react to this, one phase to react to this, otherwise you lost. Vehicles. Again, overcomplicated triggers. Again, people hated this set so freaking much. This one even starts with, while there were criticisms, which I'll get to below. Yeah, let's get there in a hurry. Players enjoyed the core conflict of tradition versus modernity. I thought it was stupid. It was very offensive to Japan. It's what, stupid touristy shit looks like. They've all actually moved on to computers. They just put on the kimonos and start doing shit with bamboo when foreigners show up. And then they go back to their lives and drive like cars. My God. They need to turn off the anime. And apparently so do some of the Magic fans. The throwback references were adored. I didn't play when Kamigawa was out, neither did anybody else. In fact, Kamigawa was so bad, it almost killed the game. It was super fun as a draft set. I mean, I did like 2. I didn't think it was that great. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great because of ninjutsu and blue-black. The mechanics seemed much beloved. No, I mean, reconfigure, yeah, saga creatures, okay, but samurai and warriors and ninjas and rogues, unblockable flying switcheroo shit, nah. Most of the players liked the execution of Cyberpunk. Most. I wouldn't even say most by the dictionary definition of slightly greater than 50%. I've never heard so much complaints about what the hell are they doing? They've jumped the shark. What is this Cyberpunk bullshit? I mean, name another set where people are like, this is not Magic. In the recent Magic times, the next closest would be, for the exact same reasons, but to a lesser degree, Space India, aka Kaladesh, where they told them, in no uncertain terms, what the hell is this giant mech Gundam shit? Oh, vehicles. Why would they have cars? Why are they racing on racetracks? Can we not, please? Thanks. I like Cyberpunk, and I hated this because they made it Cyberpunk Japan, and then made it like borderline offensive stereotypes that aren't even true, and then every time they just retreat and hide behind, but it's our version, it's not based on real Japan. Hey, look at all the stuff that's based on real Japan, we hired Japanese artists. Oh, but it's not real Japan. So when people like it, yes, it's based on real Japan. When people don't like it and say it's offensive and stereotypical and wrong and not accurate to history, then they say, oh no, it's not real Japan, it's our take on it. I think there was a book called like 1984, something about doublespeak or doublethink. Anyway, there was much love for a lot of the Japanese versions of the cards. Yeah. People are still, even at that point, kind of done with the whole, we've got 16 different alternates of this art. It's like, okay, calm down. But yeah, weebs love weeb shit. I'm shocked. Wow, surprising. Lessons. Players were sad that we were on Kamigawa for only one set. For all the reasons I just stated in the last 3 minutes, no. The set didn't bring back elements certain players wanted. Certain players, the 1% of people who played through Kamigawa the first time and didn't quit? Even though it was the worst draft and second worst standard constructed ever? Yeah, maybe third. I'll say third. Next up, it wasn't always clear when a creature was an enchantment or artifact. I don't remember that being a thing. It says enchantment on it, didn't it? You got me. Complexity was a tad high. Yes, people hated it. It was confusing, annoying, stupid, hard to draft, and people were so done with this crap. Plus, mixing this with Kaldheim was a disaster. Players weren't happy with Samurai's mechanical identity. Yeah, you just recycled it from last time. It was kind of crap, but there's always going to be somebody saying, well, I wanted to play Samurais because they're cool, or I like this one card, but it didn't turn out. Yeah, that's how Magic works. Sometimes it's 80% the power of anything else in the meta. And for the record, mathematically and historically, both established proven facts that if you lower the average power level, people can get away with a wider variety of decks, which means that they can play more mechanics and will build more decks and will buy more of your products. But we have to sell the cards to Commander players. Oh, look, nobody's playing Standard because it's crap now. Well, I guess we'll double down on selling them to Commander players. No going back from that unless you pull a Yu-Gi-Oh! And just change how the rules work instead of banning 50 more cards. See also what I just said about Standard rotating earlier completely being reformed by Wizards, because you know damn well that's going to happen. So, Streets of New Capenna. Highlights. Players were excited to see the return of a 3-color set. Anybody excited about a 3-color set has clearly never played the game before, ever. It's just Swiss Army Control-a-thon bullshit, assisted by overpowered 3-color crap, because WotC keeps on thinking there won't be enough fixing or they'll play a turn behind if they're playing 3-color, which has never been true and will never be true and currently is not true. Some of those Ascendancy cards make me want to throw up. Number 2, the family mechanics were mostly well-liked. I love how you have to put mostly. Number 3, there were a lot of cool individual designs, and number 4, fans enjoyed the look and feel of the plane. So I'll just vapid nothing. Has nothing to do with how the cards work. Anything at all. People just want a 3-color crap for Commander. Let's just cut the shit. So there was nothing good about this in the context of Standard or Constructed or Draft, is what he's saying. Let's read the lessons. The plane was a little one note, and the factions weren't distinct enough. Just nobody read the story is what it was. They were pretty distinct, but they were all evil, so, I mean, yeah. Very WotC lefty thing to do, by the way. There were issues with draft. I drafted it once. I think it's the single worst set I've ever drafted in my entire life, so yes. Okay, there were creative elements that weren't explained well, leading to some confusion. I don't know what he means at this point, I don't care. The tricolored lands should have been called triomes. Why? It's in a city. Why would it be a tricolored biome? They could have pulled it out. Okay, he says this is more of a naming issue than a design issue, but I heard it a lot. Were people joking? Did I say this? I got nothing on this one. Are people playing Triome Tribal? Who gives a shit what they're called? Anyway, Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate. Highlights, none. The set was shit. Oh, sorry, I misread that. What he actually said was, the set had a lot of flavorful top-down D&D designs. Does that sell it? Does that make anybody buy it? The draft was a lot of fun. I'm not sure I drafted that. The Commander designs were original and accounted for a lot of feedback from Commander players. They didn't say positive. The players enjoyed a lot of the mechanical execution. A lot of it. Mostly. Some. He probably more realistically could have just said none. Lessons. It shouldn't have been labeled as Commander Legends. Oh, that would have sold it. That would have helped underpowered crap that's D&D themed and that's all it had going for it. Here is the lesson for the day, boys and girls. Or looking at my analytics, boys, guys, fellows, what can we learn from this? Once you power creep every single Eternal, Standard, and every format in between to the moon, and then you print something a little bit more tame so people can actually draft it and it's fun and appropriate and balanced, nobody's interested in it. Because there's no more power creep, they're sick of buying your stupid dumb shit, and they spent enough damn money, and there's no reason to upgrade their deck or buy another one. Because it doesn't compete. So you have to keep getting more powerful and more powerful. That's the definition of power creep. So what are they going to do if they want to keep making money? Like I said, fundamentally change the formats and the rules of the game. See also Alchemy, but Standard in 2023. Prepare yourself, it's coming, I'm telling you. They're just going to go back to everything being way more powerful. They have to. And they're just ruining Commander, which is, self-policed anyway. I think they're like, oh, well, if something's too powerful, their play group will just not allow it. And we will abandon MTGO. And by will, I mean they already did. If you didn't hear, they sold off Magic Online to a third party. The entire platform, the whole thing. Anyway, number 2 lesson. It felt more like Dungeons & Dragons Adventures in Forgotten Realms 2 than Commander Legends 2. Yeah, but nobody wanted a Commander-specific set anyway. The set didn't have magic callouts, especially in the Commanders. Why would it? It's a D&D set. There wasn't much mechanical innovation. That's true. It was very bland, boring, and low-powered, but that's why people like drafting it so much. Just saying. So that's the end of it, but let's read his conclusion. I've come to the end of this year's column. As always, the goal is to try to look back with an honest understanding of how our work was received by the audience. Well, he's lying to himself and us, so I guess that's the opposite of honest. It's only by looking at the past that we can, they never do this, can learn how to improve in the future. And then Hasbro calls up and says, "Give me more money, plus." And then a couple emojis, maybe some hashtags about like rich people problems. And then it goes out the window, they print double, they rip us all off, they power creep it and just say, "Oh, I'll start looking for a new job in the next 2 years." So finally, he ends with, "I'm curious to see your feedback on today's column." I am too, guys. Seriously, send him some feedback. I don't care what you think. It's less about, "Hey, I think you did great and the article was great." Well, he already thinks that. What he needs is differing opinions. So I'm not saying just like be rude and be a jackass, because then he'll just dismiss you as some hater, which he does constantly, then retweets back into his little Twitter bubble. But he's got his email, his Twitter, his Tumblr, his Instagram, and his TikTok. Oh my God, he's on TikTok. Somebody kill me. Just hit him up with like, "Actually, I don't like the overall power level standard. Actually, I didn't like any of the drafts. Actually, this, that, the other thing. I didn't like how much money I had to spend. I didn't like this." I mean, some of that stuff's out of his control. He doesn't set the prices. He doesn't, do this, that, or the other thing. He doesn't get the calls from Hasbro. He just designs shit. But if you have a comment about the state of Standard Constructed, go tell him about it, because legitimately he does not care about this shit. So that's all of Mark Rosewater that I can take for the day. Leave a like if you made it all the way to the end of this video. My gosh, you are almost stronger than me. I had to take a break halfway through, and I'll see you guys next video.